Hey Spuddies, PotatoMcWhiskey here and welcome back to Let's Play Civilization 6 as Germany. Our objective this episode is to finish off building all of these research labs, get as many citizens working our campus specialist slots, get ourselves some neighborhoods in ideally every single city, and then inside those neighborhoods build food markets. It's actually a pretty difficult decision right here because if I settle on this Western Mercury, I do get access to another copy of clams. But if I settle on this Eastern Mercury, I get access to this clams. So it's kind of six of one, half a dozen of the other. The other thing is, if I settle over here on this eastern side, I miss out on both of this clams and this fish, but I get access to 3 more fish. So it's a pretty hard decision. I think I'm going to go for a sort of compromise and settle on the Eastern Mercury. And this will kind of get me most of what I want in here. Listen up, I started asking people to subscribe to my channel at the start of my videos, and now we are over 51% of the people who watch my videos subscribed. If you aren't subscribed and you watch my videos all the time, click the goddamn button. Please, thank you, I love you all. Factory finished in Heidelberg, and in the interest of getting this city completed much faster because it's falling a little bit behind my other cities, I'm going to go ahead and purchase the coal power plant in here to give it an extra 16 production. And with that coal power plant, we'll be able to plug in and quickly grab stuff like the research lab to get as much science going as possible. However, even if I got the research lab, this city wouldn't be able to work these specialist tiles, so it might be worth it to go ahead and prioritize getting growth stuff like, for example, the Seaport. For now, I think I'm just going to go research lab into Seaport, into sewer, and hopefully grab all the era score that comes alongside that. Nuremberg is 5 turns from being able to grow to 7 population, which will allow us to place our campus down in here. So I think I'm going to go ahead and get to work on a seaport. I could also build a canal if I was feeling a little bit like weird and I wanted to connect up this thing over here. I don't think this would really do much other than just be a meme. But I guess I could do it because, well, I suppose my industrial zone isn't actually near that canal. Had I known that, had I actually realized this, I could have put my industrial zone here where the aqueduct is. I could have put my aqueduct here. I could have put a canal here, and then just kind of forget about the commercial hub, and then I would have had an even better industrial zone. So I really should have thought about that a little bit more carefully before I put this down in this configuration. This configuration is totally fine, don't get me wrong, but I could have in theory had a slightly better one. Anyway, let's get to work on the seaport, and I probably will just place down a canal just for the giggles to connect this lake up to like basically a tiny empty thing. Let's also boost up the population of mites by harvesting this tile right here. That's going to give it an extra 1 pop, which brings it up to 10 population, which will mean that it can place another district. I'm not sure which district that will be. It'll probably be a theater square, but I'm going to let the research lab finish before I make that decision. Now we are getting to the point where we're going to want to start defending a spaceport with our spies. I kind of don't have enough money, which is a bit of an unfortunate circumstance. I really should have saved up more money, which is kind of bad because I want to also purchase settlers to go settle these islands over here. So I am going to have to save up money. I'm going to be plugging in Reina into the capital city of Penguin March, and then I'm going to go ahead and move Magnus over rather to, I suppose, just a random city that has maybe some harvests in it. I don't really have a whole lot of cities that have many harvests in it. So I guess what I'll do is I'll just settle this city and then put him in here for loyalty. There we go, Magnus is settled in here. I will of course get this online. We will have to do a little bit of management of this city. Let's go ahead and plan it out. There will be a +3 Hansa right here. So I'll plug that in. If I place a commercial hub right here, that'll be a +5 Hansa. That covers the first 2 districts in this city. Ideally, I would purchase both of these things, but I'm going to be saving up for the spaceport for a bit. So I'll just get to work on the Hansa. It'll slowly build it. It will be fine in the long run. Anyway, let's go ahead and defend this city with my spy. I will of course cancel him and get him to work on the spaceport when we build it. Brilliant. So a few important things have happened this turn. First of all, we picked up urbanization. Now, I don't think any of my cards are going to change, but having urbanization is going to allow me to start placing down neighborhoods. Importantly as well, I thought my alliance with the Cree was going to end this turn. I guess that expires in 0 turns. Alrighty. I may as well get a resident embassy with him to make him a little bit happier so he doesn't lose the friendship status with us. Now that we have urbanization, I'm going to head towards natural history so that I can get my archaeologists up so I can get a little bit more culture per turn, as well as a couple of extra envoys to get suzerainty of a few more city-states. Peep the Toad is starting to look very well developed. I think I'm going to go ahead and plug in a research lab. We also got ourselves a few extra patrons on Patreon, so I'm going to go ahead and start renaming a couple of cities. Magdeburg will become Soccerman 12 UK. Berlin will become Reagan Smash. Oh god, I spelled it wrong. Mainz will become Quixotic 1. Oh shit, I messed it up. It's supposed to be an X, not a Z. I'm so bad at this. Heidelberg will become Peemster. And Nuremberg will become Notzen. Cologne will become Dansk. I don't know how to say this. Dansk? Dansk? I don't know how to say this. But there we have it. Every single city that we own has been renamed after a Patreon subscriber. If you want to be renamed, have a city renamed after you, go ahead and just subscribe for $2 to my Patreon. There will be a link in the description of the video. I'm sorry to interrupt the actual regular content for that, but it is what it is, man. You gotta hustle. Finishing off the very last farm triangle over here in Quixotic, which will give it a +5 food tile, which is really, really valuable. I think it might be a good idea to swing by and pick up... Oh, I already have replaceable parts. Never mind. Softpoff has finished a research lab, and this city has plenty of food, so we can definitely lock in the science tiles. I'm going to tell it to prioritize food and science so that it can keep growing because it has plenty of housing room. And look at that, it's making 66.5 science per turn. Now, we're officially burning as much coal as we are taking in, so we need to be a little bit more careful about which powered buildings that we start building after we have the research labs finished, and we might have to transition towards a few of our cities having an oil-based economy, which is a little bit of an inefficiency, but it should work out to be totally fine. With that in mind, I'm going to avoid building any power-requiring buildings in Softpoff and just focus on getting the shipyard and the seaport online. Quixotic, on the other hand, in contrast to my other cities, doesn't really have enough of a food surplus for me to feel comfortable to work the scientific specialist slots yet. I will do it once the city has its neighborhood online, which I'm going to get to work on right now. Not really seeing a whole lot of great tiles to place it on. I suppose I'll just throw it down here on this snow tile. The Cree are ready to welcome me as friends. Yes, okay, so I'll renew my friendship with the Cree. I will get a cultural alliance with them, and then I'll start settling the islands near them. I think I might even just hard build my spaceport this game when I would normally take my time or try to purchase it. It's only 20 turns. That's still a lot of turns, so I might save up for it. Yeah, I think I'm going to save up for it. I think I'm going to save my cash. I'm making quite a good amount, and I have plenty of diplomatic favor that I can sell off to the AI as well. Anyway, let's go ahead and get the cultural alliance with you. There we go. You'll pay me 14 gold per turn. I'll go ahead and get a research alliance with Sumeria because he has a pretty good income in terms of science. China, I will take a religious alliance like so. America, I will take a military alliance, and with Scotland, I will get the only remaining alliance, which is an economic alliance. So we have our spaceport unlocked. We're going to make our way towards satellites. I am going to need to do a little bit of flipping around and all sorts of stuff on the way there. But once we have moon landing unlocked, then we have to rush all the way down to launching the Mars colony. Penguin March also lacks a little bit of food, but I'm going to go ahead and tell it to work the campus specialist slots over the industrial zone specialist slots because we want the science more than anything. And then I'll come in here, and before I get the spaceport online, I'm going to work on the neighborhood. The hard part is finding a tile to put the neighborhood on. I think I'm going to put it on this dead farm tile over here because it's only a farm that's isolated on its own that has no adjacencies. It is only a +3 housing, but I think that's worth it for the extra food that I'll get from the food market. Reagan Smash just got its hydroelectric dam online, which means less of its power is being used for coal. It's about time I got a neighborhood in here as well, and I'm going to keep these farms around. This city has a huge food surplus, so I think I'll kill this lumber mill over here. Research lab finished in Fubar, and like my other cities, this city is a little bit light on the whole food thing, so I'm going to avoid working those campus specialist tiles. And again, we're just going to go ahead and keep getting neighborhoods, and there's a really incredible neighborhood right here for +6 housing. I would like to build a neighborhood in Harpfire, but I do need to bring down how much of my power is being used by my coal power plant. So I'm going to get to work on the hydroelectric dam in here first. Now, it's actually kind of fortunate that this aluminum appeared here because it gives me an opportunity to remove it and replace it with a mine. And that means these two farms here are no longer part of an efficient farm triangle, which means I can use these tiles for something maybe like a campus or a neighborhood. And so that's exactly what I'm going to do in the city of Soccerman 12 UK. I'm going to go ahead and swing in here and pop down a campus here so that I can get a little bit of adjacency bonus, and hopefully a neighborhood will be popped down over here on this tile. The citizens of Quoxitic have given me 3 era score by building a really, really nice neighborhood, which means I can get to work on the food market in here and start bringing up the amount of growth that the city is getting, which means I'll be able to work more specialist slots. Now that we have natural history, we can get our hands on archaeologists. Let's go ahead and take a moment here to get up towards mass media and ideology and stuff like that. In the meantime, let's pick up Scorched Earth into mass media, into mobilization, into ideology. I think it would be a good idea to try to get 3 cores in my military because I can get them right now. So I'm going to look for opportunities to combine my units together in order to get those cores. I have 1 right now, but I would want to have 2 more. And I think I know how to get that. I'm just going to build 2 scouts because I have 2 warriors down here that I can combine together to get a second core. And then I could just make 2 scouts and combine those together. I could, in theory, actually just use archers because I already have an archer in this city. And for some reason, I can't build anything other than archers. Alrighty, sounds good to me. Now, the factory is done in over here in Danksku, or however you pronounce that. And I would like to build a coal power plant. This is a little bit of a lower priority coal power plant. And I'd also like to get the neighborhood in here. There is a nice +6 neighborhood over here, but I'm going to go ahead and steal this tile for a theater square and then place a neighborhood right there. Because this city is going to need the housing and the food from this neighborhood because it's about to hit its growth limit. Oh my god, barbarian, like full-blown like infantry. I haven't seen that in a very long time. I just realized that I actually need 1 more promotion for Reina for me to be able to purchase my spaceport district in this city. So I'm going to prioritize switching over to mass media so that I can purchase it in here. And in the meantime, in the capital city, I'll make sure that I pick up stuff like a food market and all the culture buildings. Might also be a good idea in here to pick up a zoo, and that'll provide some amenities to my nearby cities. Softpuff would like to pick up a neighborhood. Now, I kind of want to put a neighborhood for Soccerman UK on this tile, and I might put the district for what do you call them? Softpuff would like a neighborhood district. I think I'm going to put it right here, even though it's only a +3 neighborhood. It'll still provide an avenue for me to get that really, really nice thingy, the food market. I keep forgetting what it's called. I'm going to be prioritizing trading for culture over anything else right now because my objective is to get all the way up to communism as well as all the way up to globalization so I can pick up the International Space Agency. Let's combine these 2 warriors together, giving me my 2nd core, and then we'll combine these 2 archers together, giving me my 3rd core, which will give me the boost towards mobilization, which is worth somewhere in the region of 600 culture, I think? Around about that. It might also be a good idea for me to maybe try to pick up some of these luxuries that I don't have access to. For example, I believe gypsum is one that I don't have. As it turns out, I actually do have access to gypsum, so I'm just going to go ahead and try to pick up truffles, the amber, and the olives, and see if they'll take my diplomatic favor for it. Looks like he'll take about 15 diplomatic favor for all these luxuries. That's an extra 12 amenities throughout my empire. Oh god, what have I done? I stepped up onto this. Oh, Jesus Christ. Oh, no. So China's making about 800 gold per turn. I wonder how much diplomatic favor he would be willing. Oh, he'll be willing to give me 270 gold per turn. So 270 gold per turn is an awful lot. Hey, we managed to unlock Robert Goddard. Also, I really want this oil guy too. Thankfully, I'm getting the Rockefeller pretty quickly because of all the great merchant points I'm getting from my commercial hubs. The nice thing about Robert Goddard is he's actually going to give me a 40% boost to my space race projects, which is awesome. Research lab finished in Peep the Toad. This is another one of those cities that is a little bit struggling for food and population. So I'm going to go ahead and prioritize getting a neighborhood in here. Now, this will kill this farm, but this farm will eventually be killed to put an aluminum mine here. So I'm not too worried about that. In fact, let's get the builders ready to start swapping these aluminum mines out. I'm going to put 2 votes for myself so that my new districts act as culture bombs. It's not really super significant, but maybe I can steal a couple of important tiles with that. And I suppose I will just vote for Amber. I don't really care or know which one I should vote for. Hey, sweet. So you only ever have to vote for yourself twice to get these ones. So I'm pretty happy about that. Now, we just unlocked satellites, which has unlocked solar farms. And this is a big deal because we are losing coal. And importantly, it's also unlocked the moon landing. Now, normally, if I had planned a little bit better ahead, I forgot that I needed another governor title for Reina. If I had planned a little bit more carefully, I would have been like already launching my space race projects. But what this means is over in cities like this, they're going to be using a lot less power because I'm going to be able to throw in a few of these solar panels. And that'll be what these couple of builders that I'm going to purchase in here will be getting up to over the next few turns. Now that we have satellites, we're just going to have a quick peek. Is there anything nearby that we can easily pick up that we really want? And I think the answer is no. With the exception of maybe computers for flood barriers, that would be something worth picking up. But once we pick up computers, we're going to want to come back down through the tech tree, pick up all these things that we skipped over. Like I never unlocked crossbowmen. I want to point that out. I never unlocked crossbowmen. We're going to come up, grab refining all the way up to here. Then we're going to swing up to combined arms, into nuclear fission, into nanotechnology. That's the pathway that we want to go down. Now, I could skip a lot of those technologies if I skipped right to nanotechnology, but I think heading towards combined arms first is a better move. especially since it'll give me access to nuclear power plants, which will lower my dependency on coal. One thing I would really like to do over in my capital of Penguin March is to maybe grab Magnus and upgrade him a couple of times, just while I'm kind of transitioning from my power sources. If I could get him the industrialist promotion, it would mean that I am producing power more efficiently and therefore using less coal. Campus finished in Soccerman 12 UK, fairly standard stuff, just going to go build the regular science buildings. Over in Knotson, we are going to be able to work on our campus up here too. We're really getting into the late game and our cities are almost fully developed with very little left to actually build. Apparently, I actually can build the Great Zimbabwe, my capital. I probably should have done that because it would have given me a bunch of extra gold, but yeah, it's a bit late now. I didn't notice it. In the meantime, I'm just going to pick up the entertainment complex because that's going to line up really neatly with mass media finishing, which means I'll be able to take that extra promotion on Reina and then purchase the spaceport in here. I'll also take a moment to throw down the water park district in Soccerman 12 UK before I go back to work on the university and research lab. In Quixotic up here, I would love to get my hands on another couple of builders to lay out a few of extra, what you call them? Oh god, I've forgotten the word for solar panel. I want to lay down a few solar panels up here so this city can use up less natural resources. I am, however, going to also need an archaeologist to clear up these antiquity sites, and I really don't want to purchase one, so I'll just take the time over here in Harpfire to pick that guy up. Finally, we got the aluminum mine down, which did give us the boost towards nanotechnology, which is the one that we need to get to launch Mars colony. Over in Lubeck, time to purchase a tile and lay down a nice farm right here. I'll be prioritizing growth in Lubeck. The more tiles that we work, the better that the city will be. The city of Fubar is using about 5 power from resources per turn, which means I need to get about 6 power from solar panels in order to even that out. Picked up ourselves a delicious little golden age, and we're going to go ahead and grab ourselves Heartbeat of Steam, or perhaps reform the coinage. I'm not sure exactly which. I think I'll go for Heartbeat of Steam because I get that 10% boost to wonders, as well as campus districts giving me extra production. And I think that one is just better overall. I don't really plan to go to war. I don't really plan on... Well, I am kind of settling another couple of cities. Reform the coinage would give me a lot of money, but I'm going to take Heartbeat of Steam. I thought mass media would finish this turn. That is a little bit unfortunate on the timing on that one, so I guess I'll just do something that takes one turn in here. Yes, let us build ancient walls. Quixotic also needs quite a few solar panels in order to even out how much power it's consuming from resources. Because remember, we're starting to lose coal pretty rapidly, so I need to start cooling down how much coal I'm burning. And that's actually starting to eat into our diplomatic favor as well. Let's lay down a theater square up here in Quixotic. I'm going to put it just on a random snow tile. It's not super important. It'll just let me get a little bit of extra culture. Finally, we can promote Reina with the contractor promotion, which will allow me to swing up over to Penguin March. And finally, purchase the spaceport for 7,200 gold. I'm going to place it right here on top of this stone because it's easier to defend it with my spies over here. Let's go ahead and wake this guy up and cancel this mission so we can defend the spaceport. Now that we have the spaceport online, we're going to go ahead and start working on launching our Earth satellites and stuff like that. And also, I might want to start moving all my trade routes over into Penguin March so that we can boost the city up to astronomical levels of population and stuff like that. And to that end, we're probably going to want to purchase ourselves a neighborhood in here as well to get extra population. Now that I have the food market in here, I feel very justified in working the scientific specialist slots. And there is an argument to be made to just keep pumping on the science stuff here by doing campus research grants, but I think it's a lot more fun to actually build out these buildings. So I'll grab myself a seaport for the little bit of extra gold and the little bit of extra housing. Similar sorts of stuff over here in Fubar. Did you already build a neighborhood? You did, and it's fully built. So now I could, in theory, justify working these scientific specialist slots. And then the city isn't quite losing as much gold as it was. I may as well pick up the seaport though to justify giving this city even more food. In terms of military policy cards, I'm just going to plug in logistics so that my builders can move around my empire a little bit easier. Normally I would love to put a lumber mill right here, but I kind of really do need the solar panels. Lumber mills are so good though. It makes this tile into like a real tile. So I guess I'll put the lumber mill there. We got our second copy of aluminum officially online. We are of course picking up 6 already. So we'll go up to 9, which means we can afford potentially 9 aircraft if we really want them. And now we're going to start using our spy to defend the spaceport. And we'll also have other spies stationed around the spaceport also providing extra defense. Because what can happen is if the AI all dogpile your spaceport on the same turn, each spy can only stop one other spy. So you need to have multiple spies defending. Oh, I got to claim another great admiral. Not super impactful or important. I would much rather grab this guy up here. And in fact, I can buy him for 170 faith, so I may as well. Now, like I said, I'm going to start centralizing all of my trade routes into my capital so I can complete these projects in a single turn. In our capital, we are going to be prioritizing food and production because we are looking for food and production. We want the city to grow and we want it to build these launching Earth satellite projects or the spaceport projects a little bit faster. Let's go ahead and plug in John Rockefeller. That's going to give me extra strategic gold from strategic resource trading, as well as 3 oil per turn, which is not a bad amount of oil to get as a bonus. Now that we have 2 solar panels over here in Peemster, it's only using... Now that we have 2 solar panels over here in Peemster, it's no longer converting coal into power, which means the pressure on our coal economy is going to start coming down. You can see we're down to only losing 1 coal per turn, when I think we did reach losing 3 coal per turn for a short period. Harp Fire has finished its archaeologist, which means we can rip up this archaeological dig site, which will mean we can actually put a solar panel down here so this city doesn't eat up all of my power. Oh god, I didn't actually unlock flood barriers, and then my city of Peep the Toad got flooded, and now it doesn't have the production to actually build the flood barriers in time for this sea level rising. Oh god. Oh Jesus Christ. I thought I'd unlocked those. That's really bad. Brilliant. I've actually built so much solar power and stuff like that that we have actually managed to turn around the problem we had with coal, and now we're even burning less coal than we were earlier on in this episode. All about transitioning to a renewable economy, and hopefully by bringing this down, our carbon emission penalty will come down as well. The only problem is it won't bring back Peep the Toad, which will make me very, very sad. I think what I'm going to do is purchase a neighborhood over in the capital, and I'm going to just kill like one of these mine tiles because they're not that important. So I'll just crush that mine tile to get the neighborhood online, and that'll let the city to continue to grow. And then I'm going to move Raina out of the city and hopefully reassign her over to Peep the Toad and see if I can maybe use her to help purchase something in here that'll help the city out. I'm not really sure. But it's about time I moved Pingala from Reagan Smash over to my capital. I am going to lose out on a significant chunk of science and culture by doing this. However, being able to build these space race projects faster is going to be a big enough incentive to do that. Doing a quick check of the power throughout my cities, most of them are kind of doing okay in terms of renewables. Some of them are using coal, but I've managed to get a lot of them off of coal. The only exception is my capital, which is like pumping out a ridiculous amount of coal power per turn. I think it's pumping out 20 right now. Yeah, it's burning 5 coal per turn, which I need to fix as well. Okay, we got flood barriers unlocked. I'm going to swing over to Peep the Toad. How fast can I get the flood barrier? It's 57 turns. Oh, Jesus Christ. If I had this industrial zone online, I would have been able to do this no problem. And unfortunately, I don't think Valletta is in this game, so I won't be able to purchase it with faith. I am trying to think about how I could possibly get these in a reasonable amount of time. God, that is such a small mistake that it's going to cost me, because both my aqueduct and my industrial zone are going to die as a result of this. I think the only real way I have a chance of finishing this on time is maybe slamming in trade routes into Peep the Toad, but that implies I gotta find like the trade routes that are finished, and this is not really where I want my trade routes. Do I just accept that Peep the Toad has been annihilated? I think I just accept the fact that Peep the Toad has been completely annihilated through my own incompetence. So I will keep centralizing my trade routes into Penguin March, and we did finish computer. Let's get to work on combined arms. I'm gonna have a look around and see if there's any other cities that I want to build these flood barriers in. I'm going to want to prioritize those as a rule to make sure I'm protected from any of the negative consequences. Just finished the zoo over here in Harp Fire, which is keeping our amenities in check. I could go ahead and build like the spaceport if I really wanted to, but I'm going to go ahead and grab myself a few spies so that I can get a bunch of gold to fuel my economy. Alrighty, we just finished launching the Earth satellite. That is a big deal. It's going to reveal the entire map, give us a bunch of ERA score, and more importantly, allow us to work on the all-important launching of the moon landing. Now, this is an incredibly important thing because it's going to give us an insane amount of culture when we finish it, because what it does is when it finishes, it gives you a one-time culture bonus equal to 10 times your science per turn. So when we're 2 turns away from finishing it, we're going to want to go through and make sure every single city in my empire is maximizing as much science as it can possibly produce. Let's keep on centralizing trade routes into the capital. This is a really important thing to do because it's going to allow me to not only grow the capital really tall, which will result in a whole bunch of extra production once we unlock communism, which gives you 0.6 production per citizen in cities with governors, but it will also allow us to work all these extra specialist tiles. In fact, my capital is so important, I'm going to start stealing basically every possible tile that's nearby so that I can get as many yields as possible and build the important late game spaceport projects as fast as humanly possible. We do have 4 envoys on our hands, so I'm going to go ahead and put 3 of them into Mohenjo-Daro, just so I can get that little bit of an extra theater square boost. Oh shoot, I should have actually only put 2 in because I still have the the double envoy card plugged in. Wait, oh, I misclicked. I passed on a great engineer. I mean, it's fine because it's one that I didn't want, but I had meant to just take it just for the sake of taking it. I guess it works just fine because I think it was Alvar Alto or someone. Yeah, so someone else can pick him up, although it's going to take them an awful long time. Feels bad, man. I didn't mean to skip on him. I was meant to take him because I just have so many great engineer points that I don't think anyone can really compete with me. So let's keep working on feeding the capital. This will be really important because once we get communism, we're going to be plugging in that really, really powerful card that communism has right here, collectivization, which gives you food and production from domestic trade routes. Amazingly, we only had one copy of oil in our entire empire, and we managed to settle a city right on top of it. Beautiful. Why is it that I never get any oil, or like I always either get like really, really good strategic resources or none? I think my counter spying was successful because my spy is no longer hanging out in the capital. Oh no, he's still here. I'm going to use adjacency. So I'm going to protect this campus with this spy, which will also overlap with the spaceport. Now, if you're wondering how we're doing on the victory track, I currently have 600 science per turn. The next science leader has 275 science per turn. I think I'm ahead, guys. I'm not entirely sure. In terms of a culture victory, China is not doing too bad actually, but they still need to get 194 tourists. So they've got a long way to go. Peemster is basically fully built with the exception of not having a neighborhood. So I'm going to plop one down up here and get the food market in here to keep it going. Pretty much every single one of my cities right now has a neighborhood and a food market, and that's why the populations are starting to get out of hand. Like they're ridiculous at this point. Oh right, I forgot about Lubeck, and unfortunately the Cree settled the city that I wanted to settle. It's not that big of a deal. And this tile over here that I wanted to settle is now flooded, which is kind of unfortunate, as is this one. I was really hoping to settle these. Like, look at all this oil that's out here. You know what? Let's actually find out. Can you settle on these half-flooded tiles? Okay, we just unlocked uranium, and it turns out I in fact do have a source of it from bonus resources. What? Not a single copy of uranium inside my empire. I can't even culture bomb this. That's unfortunate. No uranium power plants for me. However, I am getting 2 uranium from Geneva? Hattusa. Hattusa is giving me 2 uranium per turn, which means I will be able to afford at least one pretty decent nuclear power plant. I'm tempted to put it in my capital, but I would lose 16 production per turn, but my capital is where I'm producing the majority of my power, which would significantly reduce my carbon emissions. So I think in the interest of trying to cut down on the amount of carbon that I'm pumping out into the atmosphere, I will maybe go for a nuclear power plant in my capital. Reagan Smash is basically finished producing, and we're getting really, really close to launching the moon landing. So I'm going to go through every single city and tell them to work campus research grants for just a few turns. And the reason that we're doing this is so that we can maximize the total amount of science that we're producing per turn. And in return, by maximizing the total amount of science that we're producing per turn, we will hopefully end up making a lot more culture from the moon landing. Oh, I never built a campus over in Dankskew. Well, that's a bit unfortunate. I guess I will just finish that food market then. So basically every city is working campus research grants, or will be working campus research grants within the next 1 to 2 turns. So I don't have much to worry about. We'll be able to get a huge amount of science per turn, and as a result, a huge amount of culture from launching the moon landing. Oh, apparently you can actually settle on flooded tiles. This is incredibly valuable information that will probably come up at some point in the future, maybe not for a long time, but that's pretty damn cool. Although apparently it does prevent you from ever building any of your city center buildings, which is a bit odd, but I'll take it. Finally, let's promote Pingala up to Space Initiative so that he can do a 30% production boost to how fast we build our space projects, which is always a nice boost. We'll also plug into Lubeck and rename it after another Patreon. We'll call this one Orheim, after one of my Patreons. And Dortmund, what better name could we give it but the incredibly appropriate name Cthulhu's Mum, because it comes from the depths of the ocean. We just unlocked nuclear power plants, and I've made the decision that rather than building the nuclear power plant in Penguin March, I'm actually going to get it in Reagan Smash. I almost called this Penguin Smash, which is an entirely different thing. But yeah, let's go ahead and convert this to a nuclear power plant just to cut down on the amount of coal we're using, because we're starting to ramp up our coal production again now that we're building a lot more power consuming buildings. And with the advent of nuclear fission, we're going to get to work on nanotechnology so that we can start doing Mars colonies. We are currently producing 770 science per turn. So when we finish launching the moon landing, we are going to get 7,700 science per culture in a single turn, which will allow us to boost up to ideology, boost past communism, and perhaps all the way almost up to globalization, although these are relatively expensive, so it's likely it'll get me all the way up to Cold War and maybe halfway through one of these techs. Of course, I am continuing to set up these internal trade routes to make sure that Penguin March is being fed and is growing extremely rapidly and has a huge amount of production pumping through its veins. And there is the moon landing, finishing all of my technology. I get +4 era score as well as ideology finished, and it'll also mean that I can pick up communism in a single turn. Now at the moment, I don't really have anything I can do that's important in my capital city. So what I'm going to do is just look for a few things that I could maybe pick up along the way. For example, I could get an arena for an extra amenity, and I could get an amphitheater for an extra little bit of culture. These things seem perfectly reasonable for me to do while I'm waiting to unlock the Mars Colony project over here in nanotechnology. Let's buy this oil right here because we'll be able to improve it next turn, which will give this city an actual production tile so it's not completely useless. Alright, there is plastic so we can make offshore oil rigs as well as class struggle, and more importantly, I literally beat Scotland to this island by a single turn, which means Augsburg belongs to me and it will be renamed after another patron. How about we call this the city of Jacob? There you go, Jacob. City named after you. And like I said, we'll be able to pick up Cold War in a single turn, and it's possible we might be able to pick up one of these in a single turn. I would like to get the Amundsen Scott Research Center. It'll take a lot of production to finish it, and I'm not sure if I'll finish it before the game ends, but it would be really cool to get it. Now that we've finished doing campus research grants in all of these cities, let's go ahead and get to work on stuff like broadcast centers. I want to get a little bit of extra culture because it would be really, really nice to get the International Space Agency card. This is really important. It's a huge source of late game science that'll allow you to power through the late game tech tree. Now, more importantly, over here, we're going to go ahead and plug in communism. Comrades, welcome to the revolution. There are, in fact, 4 total cards that I want to plug in. I want to plug in collectivization, I want to plug in 5-year plan, and I would like to plug in economic union. However, I'm going to skip that in favor of having public works and rationalism plugged in, although you could make an argument for not having rationalism or public works plugged in, because I don't need the extra builder charges right now. But I'm going to leave public works plugged in because otherwise I'll forget to take it out. And then I may as well take something like military research, although that's about to go away, so I don't want to plug something in that's going away very quickly. Yeah, I'll just plug in propaganda, I guess, and forced modernization in case I need to upgrade my army in a pinch. Everything is already in place. We just need to grab nanotechnology and then find our way up into the top area of the tech tree. We also need to pick up globalization, the International Space Agency, which is unlocked by globalization, which will give us a huge boost to our science, which will allow us to power through this late game tech tree. Yeah, +4 harbor over in Jacob isn't too bad. Too bad it'll take 72 turns. Jesus. Sweet, so we just unlocked the Cold War. Do we have enough left over? Yes, we do. We can pick up rapid deployment, which will allow us to build the Amundsen Scott Research Center. In the capital, I'm going to go ahead and pick up the Royal Society so that I can pump in builders into my spaceports to finish my space race projects faster. In Softpuff, once this campus research grant is done, we're going to come down and start pumping out as many builders as inhumanly or humanly possible, because we are going to want to be able to completely complete these spaceport projects in as little turns as possible. Rapid deployment is finished, which means we can get started on the Amundsen Scott Research Center. The only place that I can viably build it is over in Knotzen, and I am going to have to purchase the research lab in order to do that. But we can plop it down here. I probably won't get it finished before the game is done, but we'll give it a good old try. And we're even going to grab Space Race in a single turn. That's just how much culture we picked up from the moon landing. We have completely skyrocketed all the way from ideology, through class struggle, up to Cold War, through rapid deployment, and now through Space Race. And we're going to be able to grab globalization, which will give me the International Space Agency card. And that's going to give me a crazy amount of science. I'm going to restore all my friendships with everyone, but I'm not going to get alliances anymore. I don't really care about alliances anymore, although I guess the diplomatic favor is worth it. Economic alliance with you. I'll get a scientific alliance with Sumeria. Cultural alliance with the Cree. A religious alliance with Scotland. And a military alliance with America. That'll net me an extra bunch of diplomatic favor from alliances, plus 10 per turn, which I guess is worth doing. And for the sake of clearing out my diplomatic favor, I'll go ahead and just trade it all to China so that I can get 381 gold per turn, which doesn't really matter that much at this point of the game. Let's also plug in Mary Leakey here to get nanotechnology a turn sooner, and then we'll be able to start launching the Mars colony the exact turn that the Royal Society finishes. Also, I just want to point out that we have a 60 food surplus in this city. That is, let me repeat that, a 60 food surplus. I mean, it's 59.9, so, but I mean, come on, like, that's a crazy amount of food. There's nanotechnology. Let's go ahead and swing up to the capital and plug in the delicious Mars colony project and start immediately inserting builders into that so that we can finish it sooner. Of course, I am going to be trying to improve at least a few of my cities out here. I mean, I may as well try to make it the best out of these while we're winning. But we are very, very close to the end game. Let's get to work on Exoplanet Expedition. Oh my god, that's amazing, actually. This is incredibly lucky. I almost never get this so early. At this point in the game, I'm just going to queue up every city to work campus research grants the next time it bothers me for a mission. Like so. There we go, we got Sergei Korolev, which will give me a boost towards space race projects, and we also picked up a great admiral here that will reduce our war weariness. Similarly, over at Harpfire, just keep plugging in those campus research grants like so. Although I think now might be a good time to plug in an oil power plant in here, just so I can kind of fuel my economy a little bit differently, because I am starting to burn through my coal relatively quickly now. Although, of all the cities to do this in, this is like the worst city to convert to oil power, because this particular city is making a crazy amount of production from that. I'm not going to use Sergei Korolev yet. I'm going to use him to finish the Exoplanet Expedition in a single turn if I can. May as well take a little bit less war weariness, although I'm not at war, so it doesn't really matter. There we go. In Reagan Smash, we have now converted over to nuclear power, which means we are now producing a lovely amount of power up here, which means we are no longer burning an insane amount of coal. We're still burning a lot of coal, don't get me wrong, but it's not nearly anywhere near how much we used to be fueling. That 2 uranium is now burning up a huge chunk of the amount of power that I need in my entire empire. Just like every other city, I'm going to go ahead and plug in to do campus research grants because I want to get the biggest science number possible. Slap in another builder to finish the launch of the Mars colony. And there we go, we finished it, we get +4 error score. And then in my capital, I'll just do a sneaky little bit of saving of production so that we can get to work on the Exoplanet Expedition next turn. Soccerman12 UK, it is time for you to do campus research grants for me. The only exception to that rule will be Softpop, who will be spamming out builders that I can feed into my spaceports. I may as well see if I can get communism an extra wildcard policy slot. It's unlikely, but it would be neat if we could do it. And I may as well vote myself down here just to see if it works out. People are probably going to be targeting me for votes. Yes, the World's Fair is only triggering on turn 233. And the World's Fair is finally activated. We get a bunch of stuff. There's smart materials. There's globalization. Let's go ahead and swing into globalization. We are going to plug in the International Space Agency. I would also really like to plug in e-commerce here, but I don't know what to get rid of. I kind of want all of these things, so I'm just going to leave e-commerce out. Right, Exoplanet Expedition, let's launch. It'll take 8 turns. I don't think so. Boom, instantaneously finished, thanks to Sergei Korolev, and now we are starting the countdown. We are 30 turns away from winning the game. Let's pick up nuclear fusion to see if we can find the other technologies that allow us to launch more stuff towards the Exoplanet Expedition. Internal trade routes, of course, we're getting 6 food and 6 production from a single trade route. That is crazy. Let's make our way over to synthetic technocracy. This will allow us to not only plug in a whole bunch more economic cards, which we want to do, more importantly, it's going to give us a bunch of power as well as a 30% boost towards all city projects, which includes spaceport projects, I believe. In the meantime, in my capital, we will of course be doing campus research grants in order to get just as much science as humanly possible. Right now we're making 1,000 science per turn. Although the alternative is to swing back here and pick up these envoys here, and if I can get extra envoys, I'll be able to get suzerainty of more civilization, or of more city-states, which will give me a larger boost to my science over here. So I'm up over 1,000 science per turn, which is a hell of a lot. Similarly, over here in Peemster, we're going to work on campus research grants. Fubar also will be doing campus research grants because the only thing that matters now is how much science I can generate per turn to get a high score in the science department, I guess. I'm going to say quartermaster on the spy so that I can defend my spaceport better. I do have basically every spy in my empire defending the spaceport from being pillaged. Looks like we're going to be picking up war and peace, which is a bit inappropriate because I have been to neither war at all this game, I believe. I don't think anyone declared war on me, did they? I think this has been a completely peaceful game, right? Cthulhu's mom may as well buy this oil over here so the city has productive tiles. I'll tell it to focus on food because it really should be growing at this point. Hey, a category 5 hurricane spawning out here to come destroy Jacob and Cthulhu's mom and perhaps even Ornheim. Finally got my very first great artist this game. Not that it's going to really do a whole lot for me because I don't have anywhere to put them. I mean, I guess I could put one in my capital. Like, why not? There you go. Look, we got the three sisters playing chess. Cool. And there is Anna Karenina by Leo Tolstoy. Counters by the spaceport with this guy, and we are just going to end all the turns of these builders and this great engineer. There's conservation, which will award us with 3 envoys. As well, we just finished unlocking nuclear fusion, which might tell us where we're looking in the tech tree. I'm going to go ahead and pick up robotics because that'll take 2 turns, and then I might be having an easier time figuring out where I need to go. Now we have 6 envoys, and we want to pick up as many city-states in a single swoop as possible. In order to pull that off with relative ease, we are going to want to plug in containment for a single turn. This will mean a big drop in our science output, but it will result in me being able to get hold of more suzerainities, and that will in the end result in a much bigger science output. Let's plug 1 envoy into Kumasi, bringing us up to 5, and I'll plug another one in, bringing us up to 6. Let's plug 2 into Armagh. Apparently Poundmaker has the same government type as me. I guess, okay. Right, now we have suzerainty of Armagh, and we'll just do the government switching trick by double clicking and clicking on a thing that we have already researched, pressing shift and enter to manually end the turn, and we'll be able to switch our government next turn, even though we shouldn't be able to. I could actually afford it. I'm just too lazy to pay the money. Oh, sweet baby Jesus. Some mechanized infantry have come out of the woodwork to cause me issues. Well, let's go ahead and upgrade to our own mechanized infantry to fight them off and shoot them with this city. Oh god, I never got anything stronger than like an archer. I need to upgrade my archers. Let's turn this into a machine gun so that my city combat strength is higher. Now you can see they actually do damage. But because we did that exploit, now we can switch our government for free. We don't have to do anything like that. And we can plug in the International Space Agency, giving us +5 science 5% science for each city-state that we own, and since we used that card to get a whole bunch of extra city-states, now we're making over 1,160 science per turn. And the great thing is, we get to keep that culture, because this used to take 8 turns, and now it takes 7, so we'll just work on getting a few more envoys, and then we'll do the trick again to get a couple more suzerainities. Looks like Softpoff actually built all of the buildings in the world. Let's go ahead and build a few more. And there we go, that looks like enough builders to me. Alright, nice, that unit just killed itself against my city, so I guess I don't have to worry about it. So we unlocked all of the things in here. We're gonna have to pick one of these paths to go down. I'm going to gamble that it's down this pathway. I could be wrong, so we'll pick up advanced AI, and the extra speed on our Exoplanet Expedition might be on this one. This is an awful lot of hurricanes. Didn't we just get one a few turns ago? Oh god. Actually, there's a nice little island over here that we could settle. Alright, there's cybernetics. Let's get to work on cybernetics. Maybe that'll reveal what we need over here. In terms of victory track, we have already traveled 8 light years. I was hoping to get lucky and unlock the things a little bit earlier to win maybe before turn 250, but it doesn't look like that's going to happen for me. Hey, another free great merchant who is going to give me an extra trade route. That is not entirely useless. Let's go ahead and plug you in there, swing into the capital, and purchase ourselves a trader in here to get the city growing even more. Apparently the food surplus went down very rapidly. Oh, it's because the city ran out of housing. Well, I know a way to fix that. Let's just get ourselves another neighborhood. Bada bing, bada boom. It'll take 3 turns, but that's fine. And there is the off-world mission. So we are going to have to pick up seasteads and swing up here. It'll take about 5 turns, but we will be able to accelerate our win condition once we get to here. Let's make sure we plug in this trade route for a bunch of food and production, and then get all these guys to sit still while we wait for our win condition. Oh, apparently Eridu flipped independent and is going to join my empire. Sounds good to me. Let's go ahead and bring this machine gun over to do damage to him, and then kill this guy off, just so he doesn't come in and pillage my stuff. I'm getting very close to getting Carl Sagan. I am going to need to plug in an awful lot. I'm getting 300 scientist points per turn, by the way, because I'm finishing projects all the time. Hey, nice, we unlocked seasteads. Not that it matters, because the game is literally over already, but we did get another 3 envoys. Can I pick up another suzerainty with those 3 envoys? You know what? It looks like I can pick up Mohenjo-Daro, which will boost me up to 1,200 science per turn. And we're only 2 turns away from finishing the off-world mission, which is very, very exciting, because then I'll be able to actually finish this game. Let's make our way to optimization imperative, although I don't think that's going to be really important. We did miss out on the Golden Age, but we do get to keep Eridu for myself. I'll go ahead and keep that city. It'll give me a little bit of era score as well. I'll make a dedication. This one, I will go ahead and grab myself Heartbeat of Steam, even though I'm not building buildings. It doesn't really matter. We'll get off-world mission next turn. Let's go ahead and make sure that we plug in a whole bunch of... I'll just do Theatre Square festivals in here. This city is not very important. Look at this city. It only makes 10 production per turn. Compare that to Quixotle. It's making 86 production per turn. Like, this is just the power of Germany. There we have it. Launching the Lagrange laser station is now available. Let's swing into Penguin March. Cancel these campus research grants and get started on this one. I'm going to be able to do one of these at first, so we'll do that. I'm going to use Sergei Korolev to finish this instantaneously, so now we're traveling 2 light years per turn. Then I'll get to work on a terrestrial laser station, and we'll plug a builder in there, ba-bam, to finish that in 2 turns instead of 3. Now, in terms of technology, I may as well just unlock the last couple of technologies and then work on future tech, so that apparently this gives you 5% production towards all city projects each time it's completed, which is pretty neat. Oh, apparently there's uranium up here. Too bad it came too late. I would have, if I had landed on some uranium, I would have actually ran around with giant death robots and maybe killed a few people. I mean, I guess I could in theory purchase a giant death robot for 6,000 gold and then purchase a builder to improve that uranium so I can sustain this and declare war on someone. Although I have alliances with everyone, so I don't think that's going to work. So basically, I just made a giant death robot for no reason, which is cool. All right, let's transition this trade route over to Penguin March so that we can continue to boost my city. We shall plug in yet another builder here to get this launched ever so slightly more, so there's a bit of overflow. Let's reposition all these builders to be ready to jump on this already. If we swing over to the science windscreen, we're already 16 light years gone, so we should have this done in the next 5 to 6 turns. Keep plugging in trade routes to keep getting lots and lots of food and production in the capital. Currently, the capital is up to about 140 production. Now, technically, it is all the way up to 150 something production. Oh, actually, 160 production, but it's taking a minus 10% from amenities penalty. That is just one of the downsides of growing a really, really super huge city. There we go, another terrestrial laser station, meaning that we are boosting along even faster. I think we're also about to get Carl Sagan. We're really close to him. I guess I'm getting a great musician. Let's go ahead and swing up here and make sure that we purchase Carl Sagan. We would get him next turn anyway, but I want to spend my faith on it because that's a little bit more exciting. And we'll be able to put him to good use, filling out this next turn. Let's launch a Lagrange laser station. We will, of course, plug more builders into it. And we'll keep assigning trade routes to the capital so that I can see just how big of a city I can grow in the end game. We're up to 23 out of 29 population, which is kind of terrifying. I have 4 envoys to play with. I don't think I can get another suzerainty, so I'm just going to save these so that I can maintain my current suzerainities. Let's plug in another builder, and that will finish the Lagrange laser station. I'm not going to use Carl Sagan on this one, or Carl Sagan. I'll use him next turn. Another trade route for the capital. We've actually run out of internal trade routes, which is kind of insane if you think about it. I guess it's probably a good time to purchase another trader in the capital. Look at this food surplus, 65 food surplus. This city is making 125 food per turn and 154.6 production per turn. Literally almost every single tile that is capable of being worked by this city, actually every single tile is being worked right now. I cannot physically work more tiles unless I actually purchase a stock exchange in here, and then I can work another tile. I might want to do the same thing with the amphitheater in here, just to get the city just have absolutely insane yields. And you know what? I'm going to jump my giant death robot around my empire just for the fun of it. Oh my god, I think you just incinerated half my population. And there we go. There's another Lagrange laser station popped off into the sky. Let's build another terrestrial laser station and plug in a builder to finish that a little bit sooner. We are currently 24 out of 50 light years, so we are on track to win soon. It's currently traveling 5 light years per turn, so minimum of 5 turns, I would say. Could be 4 or 5 turns, we'll do it. Let's keep jumping this giant death robot around. Yeah, we are definitely out of places to trade for food, but we can get a little bit for it. And another great work of music, not that it matters, but you know, it's always nice to have extra stuff. It makes my score look better. You know, score 1,284. That's pretty nice. Oh my god, the drought to end all droughts. I just got obliterated again. By a drought over here. Is that like the 3rd drought in this section of the map in this entire game? All right, let's plug another builder in here. That'll bring this up to almost finished. There we go, another terrestrial laser station launched. We are currently going at 6 light years per turn, which means this will actually be done in 3 turns. We may as well launch one extra one. That's Harpfire, not my capital. Penguin March, the capital to end all capitals. Let's build ourselves a terrestrial laser station. And of course, we will plug a builder in here to try to bring the turns down. Let's get to work on future tech and just kind of scroll through all my units to end. Oh, wait, there's one unit over here. I don't want to run out of uranium. Let's put a mine right there. Nice. Oh my god, that's a 2 food, 8 production tile? Uranium is crazy. Let's keep jumping the giant death robot around because it's just kind of silly and fun. Can we get one more terrestrial laser station launched? And there we go. We plug a builder in and we get another one flying off. So now we're going at 4 light years per turn? Wait, what? Did it like roll over and cancel? That doesn't make any sense. Whatever, I'm just going to shift enter my way to the end of the game. Oh, we actually did finish the Amundsen Scott Research Station, which is pretty damn cool. I almost never finished this thing, but now my science is getting even more insane. Finally, the Lagrange Laser Station. I think this might be the last one we'll launch. No, we might not even get this one launched because we are traveling at 7 light years per turn. I will plug it in just as the honorary goodbye, and I'll go ahead and choose Future Tech again and tell all of my units to go to sleep for the very last time. Night night, little units. Robot, do a little celebratory jump into the ocean. You just created a tsunami that destroyed this neighborhood. Well done. Thank you for your contribution to my empire. Good night, little sweet little machine gun. Good night, little builder. Good night, mechanized infantry. And good night, little irradiated builder. And there we have it. Thank you guys so much for this. I'm going to quickly show you one of the graphs. Look at that player science. Isn't that incredible? That's going to be it from me. I hope you guys enjoyed this series. I love you all very much, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.